All right, up next, slide please. I'm going to bring on a very old friend of mine, not because he's old, I mean, I've known him for a long time is what I mean. Oh, that came out really bad. Vivek Wadhwa, who's actually a fellow at Stanford Law School, a vice president of research at Singularity University, an author, entrepreneur, everything. So we couldn't put all his titles onto the box. But why we're bringing him on stage is because we came together with Vivek and with the Kauffman Foundation in December to put together an important survey that some of you probably in the room filled out, so thank you for doing that. It was essentially a survey polling all the women entrepreneurs out there in the world to help profile what is the profile of this emerging female founder. So Vivek's going to reveal just a little bit of the study, so this is the debut of all the data that we've collected. Vivek, please come on stage.
Does this clicker work, Shairos? All right. How many of you have seen Seinfeld, my favorite show? One of the episodes in it, a really cool episode, was this Bizarro World episode, right? Where everything is reversed. That's what this conference feels like, because it's Silicon Valley. You got 1,000 people over here, smart entrepreneurs, and they're all women, right? When I first came to Silicon Valley about 3 years ago, my wife and I went to a TechCrunch event, and it was the regular Silicon Valley. And my wife pointed out to me, saying, Vivek, where are all the women? And I had been researching entrepreneurship. It didn't even occur to me to put the women, the sex box on the survey to find out what the gender was. That's how ignorant I was that there could ever be a difference between men and women. So, and my friend Bart over here from NC Wit had been emailing me several times, wanting to do research projects with me. She was the one who kept asking, well, what about the gender data? What about the gender data? So after all of this happened, I basically contacted her and I said, Bart, why don't we work together? I have all these data. I'll go and figure out what the sex is, because I just went and reverse engineered the database. And I gave them the analysis. We wanted to see what the difference between men and women was. Here's what we found. Clicker doesn't work. All right. Essentially, we had to make up differences, such minor points, to have a reason to publish a study. Because the more I looked at the data, there was really no difference between successful men and successful women. These are just minor points that I put up over here. But this didn't make sense, because when we look at Silicon Valley, this was shocking to me. When I started looking at data from one Kauffman study, only 3% of the CEOs of tech firms were women. We started looking around the leading companies in Silicon Valley, we didn't see any women. Even now, look at the executive management teams of almost all large companies. Other than a couple of token women lawyers or token women in marketing, you really don't see very many marketing execs. They're missing. It's even worse for blacks and Hispanics that they're completely missing from Silicon Valley. This doesn't make sense, because if you look at the national data, women are now studying engineering and science. They're graduating with higher degrees. They're really into the sciences in a big way. But they're not in social media. They're not in the silly little apps that we develop in Silicon Valley. And if you look at all the data about women, companies founded by women, every study that's been done recently shows that they're more successful. When women are on board, the companies are more successful. They bring another dimension to the companies which goes beyond the stupid little companies you see here in Silicon Valley, which are funded by the VCs, which, you have these arrogant young kids going there in front of the VCs, showing off about, how smart they are, and the VCs say, oh, wow, this must be a Mark Zuckerberg, because he's another young brat who is out of control. That's what Silicon Valley is. So recently, a few months ago, I decided to update my entire research. My friend Shahi Rose over here volunteered to help me with it. And Lisa Mitchell from Kauffman also agreed to help me with it. We decided to update the research. I wanted to get a sample of 500 women, largely in Silicon Valley. It's a new sample, and some from across the world. Now, we only closed the survey a few days ago. My research assistant, Nisha Bapat, is here. By the way, she's awesome, and she's looking for a job. If you have any openings in marketing, hire her immediately. She's incredible. But anyway, she's been working around the clock trying to gather the data, and she sent me all sorts of slides. And I had promised Shahi Rose that I'll come here and talk about it, but I can't make head or tail of these data yet. Here's why. First of all, the women are a lot better educated than the men are, according to the new research. Is this a random sample, or is this something unique? And I don't know what this is. I have to analyze these data a lot more thoroughly. but they seem to be much better educated than their male counterparts. What makes them successful? Well, experience is a common thing. They say that the lessons learned from failures. Obviously, they're being more modest, more humble than the men are, because the men say it's the successes that they learn from. Women say it's the failures that they learn from. And then they talk about professional networks. This is what Women 2.0 is all about. I've been watching the evolution of this network. I'm so proud of Shahiroz. I mean, she's rebuilt the TIE organization. It's a TIE on steroids. Amazing what you're doing over here. But what the bottom line is that when I started looking through the data, one thing which occurred to me was that there's a dramatic change happening here. We're going to spend a couple of months going through all these data, but it's, I mean, almost certain that there's a very rapid evolution happening of women in tech. They're becoming more confident, they're becoming more assertive, they're becoming more sure, and what's more, they're helping each other. Let me run through a few more slides. First of all, this one also surprised me, family influence. It's a lot less than I thought it was. Mentors, well, women have male and female mentors. There's a lot of interesting data that's going to come from the study when we get done. And they're helping each other. These are all great things. What goes wrong with women? They work with a bunch of jerks. I have to analyze these data in depth. But I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of very interesting, there's going to be some very interesting research that comes out of this by the time we're done. But give me some time. We've been working on the clock to get these together. And again, Nisha has to get a job, so please hire her, and I'll borrow her part-time. All right, now I'm going to switch gears because I have another 6 minutes to go. I want to tell you why you can save the world. I'm putting my other hat on at Singularity University. One thing which is happening, this is my summary, by the way, summary from the research. Women are evolving rapidly as entrepreneurs ready to save the world. Let the boys have their stupid social media apps, while women get serious and do big things now. Here's a history of technology. Technology is growing exponentially. We don't seem to realize that we've become pessimists. We sort of think that if you listen to some of the VCs in Silicon Valley, all they can think of is social media. In fact, some of the leading VCs here, like Peter Thiel, go around saying innovation is dead. Social media is the last hurrah. And that's why the only things that they fund are these dumb social media companies. Because if you think that innovation is dead, you're only going to fund today's big thing. The fact is that technology is advancing exponentially. Just look at the history of technology. Dramatic changes coming. I'm going to give you a 3-minute tour of what lies ahead. Take medical advances. In this decade, we're going to have computers that can outsmart physicians in diagnosing disease. We're going to have the quantified self. Our bathrooms telling us how we pigged out and what's going to happen to our health if we keep going the way we are. OnStar systems for our health. Mind-machine interfaces, bionic limbs, fantastic voyage pills. All of these advances are happening now. Many of these products are commercially available today. And then there's a $10 million tricorder prize. We will absolutely in this decade have tricorders which work like what you saw in Star Trek. Human genome sequencing, the costs are dropping exponentially. We'll be down to about $100 within 3 or 4 years, which means we're going to have the genomes of 1 billion+ people available, which means that there are amazing opportunities to start analyzing genome data and curing health. Synthetic biology, not only can we read DNA, we can write DNA as well. Now, guess who's doing all this stuff? It isn't the kids of Silicon Valley. It's high school students who are doing synthetic biology experiments and pioneering these new technologies. Robotics, you can build all sorts of amazing robots. What this means is you can disrupt industries. The manufacturing industry in this decade will be disrupted by robotics. Okay. Who's building robots? Kids. Okay. No kidding. So if kids can do it, certainly smart women can do it. Okay. You can really be making an impact on the world using these technologies. And then data. I mean, from the beginning of time to 2003, we gathered about 5 exabytes according to Eric Schmidt. In 2010, we did it in 2 days. 2013, 10 minutes. We're gathering 3 days of video every minute. I mean, it's just mind-blowing how much data is being gathered, which again means that you can now start writing all sorts of applications to harness data. And that also means you have billions of hours of cat videos. All right, bottom line on this part of the presentation is that it's now possible to solve humanity's grand challenges. The problems of energy, food, hunger, education, all of these technologies can be solved. The means are there, the mechanisms are there, the cost of building these companies is low. All of you are smart enough to do this thing. You can be starting to think big and taking on big challenges. So this is the lesson I want to leave you with, and then one more ad. That the research project I just did is going to wrap up soon. I want to write a book about this topic. Initially, I was going to spend, I spent $35,000 on this research we just completed, but I was going to spend another $20,000 of my own money on writing a book. And I decided that, no, I'm not going to do that. What I want is if women really care about their cause, I want them to work with me on it. I'm going to flip the switch over here. Again, I'm going to ask my friend Shahi Rose for help here. I want to do a crowdsourced book on this. I have all sorts of research data. I'm going to lay out a structure for the book. And then I'm going to publish it on a wiki site where I want to get people to contribute. Starting off with a Kickstarter campaign in which I want people to pre-purchase the book. It'll be $10 to pre-purchase the book, $25 if you want to be a co-author. But I want to really do a new type of project here which all of us own. So you can fill in the blanks, you can tell the stories, you can help me write the book, right? I'll get back to you, but I need some volunteers for this. I need volunteers to help me put the Kickstarter. I don't know how to do all this stuff. I know it can be done. I don't know how to do it. So I want to put the Kickstarter campaign together. I want to manage the whole process. I want to get some organizations working with me on it. But let's light a fire over here. I just did that with my book on immigration. I published a book called The Immigrant Exodus. It was a 100-page ebook. My son calls it a pamphlet. It won, economists named it Book of the Year. I was blown away. I was in Congress last week. The House Judiciary Committee, the chairman started off by reading from my book. I mean, it's mind-blowing how much impact that had. I want to do a much greater impact and bring attention to the issue of women in tech and motivate women to change the world with the next book. And I want you to help me on it. All right? Thank you.